Hello, my dolly friends. My name is Gina, and I am going to do a change in chat with my beautiful Stephanie Renee. She is actually the Vivian sculpt from Sandy Faber, and her reborn artist for her head was uh, Sherry Hawkins by So Lovely Creations, and so she's on Facebook, and so is spelled SEW. Then the limbs that she has, her arms and her legs, were reborn and done by Misty Terry over at Kits to Cradles. She'd originally come as a cuddle baby. I discovered I do not like cuddle babies in any shape or form on any type of body. So, and I just find the cloth bodies and the limbs cuddly enough. So, anyway, I traded heads. I put a Avely's head on the cuddle body and put Vivian's head on the limbs of Avely and made that my own custom doll. So, at any rate, that's how my Stephanie Renee came about. And I am going to change her. I am going to be putting her into this long sleeve and long slacks romper. This is called The Woods. It is by Kate Quinn. It is a 0 to 3. I don't know if it's this season or not. This came in a box opening with a different doll. I believe it came in my box opening for my Laura anyway, I'm going to change my Stephanie right now. So, and then when I'm all finished changing Stephanie, I do have something I just need to vent, guys. It's not Dolly related at all. It does have to do with I just need to do a little bit of venting in my life here. I hope you don't mind, but I can't really vent to the person that I normally would go to and talk to about this because, well, first of all, it's about that person, and second of all, um, the other dear friend that I normally would talk to about this, the three of us are getting together tomorrow because we're going to go see a musical at a local theater near us, and we're all getting together, and I shouldn't talk badly about anyone, but she was driving me crazy. So at any rate, so I'm gonna change my pretty little Stephanie. I know I have changed a lot of my dolls' names multiple times, and the reason I do that is because sometimes I give a baby a name, and I think, oh, that fits, but then I start losing the bond, and then I change the name, or I've had a baby and I still liked the name, but that baby is no longer in my nursery, so I give one of the babies I have that name because I liked it better than what I had given, the name I had originally given to the baby, or I think it suits another baby more. And, I have really truly found that sometimes just the name makes a huge difference. And most of you know, I name my dolls after most of my dolls. Some of them I just like the names. Some of it is, I name them after family members who are special to me. And look at how cute this looks on her. It fits her pretty well. Actually, I'm going to put these little white socks on her. They're just little plain white, but I'm just going to stick them on her little feet. And, anyway, so that's just what I do. And I'm sorry if that's confusing, but I have named her Stephanie Renee. Her smile, my daughter, she's named after my daughter. My daughter, I mean, it's obvious my daughter's name is Stephanie Renee. But when I gave her that name, well, you know why I gave her that name. That was after my sister Stephanie, who had passed when she was just 2 days old. And at any rate, but my Stephanie, my daughter, always had a beautiful smile on her face, just like this dolly. I mean, always. From the time she started smiling, she was always smiley, and bright and into things. And I had to have a Stephanie. Now I'm going to attempt to make a bow and put it on her head. It probably will not come out, and you'll probably say, my gosh, Gina, what are you doing to that poor baby? And that's okay, because Gina doesn't know exactly what she's doing, but Gina's gonna try. I don't know why I'm speaking about myself in third person. I guess because I can. I don't know. At any rate, here we go. Let's see if I can get this bow on her head and make it stay. Well, there's sort of a bow on her head. I don't know, guys. What do you think? I think it looks a little big, and I think it looks kind of silly, but if it comes off, it comes off. So anyway, guys, I'm going to pause the video. I want to move to a different spot so I can pick this little lady up and hold her and continue our chat. Or perhaps, just hold on for a moment. Okay, guys, I am back, and I have my beautiful Stephanie Renee with me, and she has her little doggy, and look at how cute she looks in this little romper. It's beige, and it has like black leaves and little swirly things all on it. It's just looks like fern leaves all over the outfit. So I love it. I think that Stephanie looks darling. The bulk just kept falling off her head. And unfortunately, my sweet Stephanie, she has a mother who has no idea how to do a bow and do it well. I stuck a pink bow on her too for a minute, but I didn't like that. And then the white bow was too small that I had, so I kind of just gave it up. You want to hold your doggy? Okay, there's your doggy. There's your little doggy. That's Sadie. Anyhow, guys, what I wanted to just briefly talk about is, remember we did I think Anne asked some questions, and one of them, Anne from Dolls in the Cradle, and one of them was, what gets on your last nerve? Well, one thing that really gets on my last nerve is not being believed. And I think I've had that happen to me my entire life. You know, I would tell my mom or dad something, and they'd say, oh no, that's not right, it's this. Or sometimes they, and sometimes I was wrong, so they corrected me. But, or, I'd say, well, I remember, we did A, B, and C, and my mom would say, no, that's not exactly how it went. We did it D, E, and F. And oh, okay. So, like, my whole life. And then, unfortunately, when I was married to my first husband, who gave me my two beautiful, beautiful children, he was very good at telling me he was right and I was wrong. And no matter what I said, he never believed me. Like if I said, hey, we have plans tonight to get together with L&S, he would say, No, we don't. And I said, well, remember I told you Wednesday that we were going over Saturday. No, you didn't. You never told me. Uh, 14 and a half years of that. Plus we dated for 4 years. So about 19 years. And then now my late husband, my second husband, he believed me. He didn't say, no, you're wrong, or unless I was really, truly incorrect about something. And he'd say, I was thinking about what you said and let's check it out together. And then he'd say, no, whatever. But I have this one particular friend who actually has never believed me when I've told her things. For example, and some of it you're going to be like, but Gina, in the big scheme of things, does it matter? Who really cares? I care because it gets on my nerves. And I think it stems from years ago of being told, hey, you're wrong. And like and my second husband was very much into and having to install voice and data network systems and fire suppression systems. And he knew a lot about computers and backing things up and changes. And when we went from analog signals to digital signals, he was one of the first people to know that this was going to happen. And he had told me about it, and I said, wow. So I tell my friend, plus I had read an article, I think in the newspaper about it. And I said, that's kind of interesting. So I said to my husband, is this true? And he said, oh yeah, I've heard about it. It's coming. I don't know exactly when, but we're preparing for it at work. And I said, oh wow. So anyway, I tell my friend that we're going to be switching. And she says, no, you're not. No, we're not. That is never going to happen. You're wrong. They're not going to do that. Well, lo and behold, they did it. And I was right. And never did she come back and say, oh, you were right. Gee, I made a mistake. She never says, how did you find that out? So I told you a little earlier, there's 3 of us getting together and we're going to go see a musical tomorrow. And we usually have lunch first. Now, she didn't want to be picking the restaurant because 9 times out of 10, she picks where we go. So she said, Gina, you and our other friend, you two pick it out. So my friend and I kind of decided. My other friend said, well, what about this restaurant or this restaurant? And I said, well, we can't go to CJ because the restaurant is closed. They permanently closed. And immediately, because this was a group text, and immediately my other friend said, oh no, it's not closed. It's not closed. Not the one in Webster. It is not closed. And I said, yes, it is. I said, I saw it on the news several months ago. And it was in the Webster Kirkwood Times newspaper. And I said, they are closed. They closed permanently. So my other friend says, well, why did they close? So I told her it was because it was family owned and family run, and nobody in the family wanted the restaurant anymore. And so even though they still did good business, and they just, nobody wanted it. So it closed, and they're selling it, and I guess it'll become another restaurant. But right now, it's still closed. So we can't go there. So then I said, okay, well, let's go to restaurant B. And the one friend that had asked, when is it closed? Friend L had said, when is it closed? And I said, this was why she said, well, yeah, that's fine. She said, let's go there then. So then the other friend who didn't want to pick the restaurant this time, was going to leave it up to myself and L, said, oh no, we can't go there. It's right next door to my old church. And I don't want to see all those people. And I don't want to talk to all those people. And I thought, why do you think that everybody from the church is going to go to that particular restaurant? You've done it. And she says, I know I'm a pain. I used to do it but And I thought, this is why we always have you pick the damn restaurant. It's because when we make a suggestion that's nice and close to our house, our houses, our homes, you always say, no, I don't want to go there because I might run into people from my old church. And I think you're a grown woman. You're 60. Is it going to hurt you if they stop by and say, hello, how are you? Good to see you. We miss your mom and dad. We miss your mother. How long has it been since she passed? I mean, gosh, is the world going to end if somebody questions you? And I doubt that, I don't know how many people from her church would go there. Some may go there. Some may go to the other restaurant she won't go to because she doesn't want to run into people from her church. Drives me insane. Gets on my last nerve. And she doesn't believe me. It wasn't until she looked it up online and said, oh, Q restaurant really is closed. They closed permanently. Huh. And I thought, why don't you ever believe me? Why don't you ever just say, oh, sometimes Gina knows things. Anyway, it was driving me nuts. So you're getting an earful because if I called Elle and complained to her, she's liable to tell the one that's aggravating me. And I don't want that. Plus, you shouldn't talk about one friend when you're all supposed to. And I have even spoken, this is the thing too, guys. I have even spoken to the person that it gets on my last nerve about being believed. I've spoken to her about it on 2 occasions. Very gently, very calmly. I've just said, my feelings get hurt really badly when I'm not believed. And one of the examples I brought up was the switching from an analog signal to a digital signal. And she said, yeah, I remember that. You really were right. And I said, just if I know something, most of the time I've looked into it and I know it. Sometimes I don't. But I really think all of this, and maybe I need therapy. So you guys are my therapists, whether you want to or not. Because I have to figure out how to let it go and move past this and not be angry, because she does this all the time. I mean, and some things, it wasn't that she didn't believe me. Sometimes I think it was maybe a little bit of jealousy. Like when I bought my first car, I had saved and saved and saved and saved and saved. And I had worked hard, and I had kept asking my dad, do I have enough money saved to go buy a car? And he kept saying no. And then finally my mother said, call the DMV, tell them what kind of car you're interested in, and find out what the sales tax will be on it. So that when you purchase the car, you have that money in the bank and you can pay for it. Also, call the insurance man and find out what your car insurance will be. So you have the first 6 months set aside. Then then you pay the 6 months, and then while the 6 months is passing, you put X amount of dollars away. And then when the next 6 months comes, you have the money. But you'll know how much you need. So I followed their instructions. I mean, I was 17 and I did what they said. And anyway, when I bought my new car and I was all excited, it wasn't fancy. But it was brand new. I bought a brand spanking new 1983 Ford Escort, guys. It was automatic. It didn't have air. The windows rolled up and down with crank. I had an AM radio. I don't even think there was an FM on it. I can't remember. Might have been. But I loved my little car. I was so excited. I mean, when I bought it, it was brand spanking new. It only had 30 miles on it. 30. I was thrilled. So what do? You call your best friend and say, guess what? I finally got my car. I bought it. And, I called the insurance agent, and I'm insured, and if we want to go out tonight and see a movie or go over to a local restaurant that we used to like and get an ice cream and coffee, we can do this. And the first words out of her mouth were, oh, those cars are ugly. I don't like them. I don't know what you wanted to buy one of those for. And I thought, it doesn't matter what you like. I liked it. So that hurt my feelings. And then I've talked to her about that too. So I don't know, but it doesn't ever seem to really fully absorb. And then she comes back with still not believing. And so I needed to vent. And so you guys got the brunt of it. I'm sorry. But Stephanie and I say, okay, thank you for listening. We are finished now. We hope that you didn't mind Mommy venting and telling all these things. And now Mommy is going to do something to cheer everybody up, she hopes. And that is, I bet Mommy's going to tell a joke. And the joke is, if Mommy can find it. What? Aha. Why did the math book look so sad? Because of all its problems. That joke fit real well with today, didn't it, guys? All right. Very silly, very cheesy, eye-rolling joke. But I hope some of you got a little giggle out of it. Remember that no matter what you're going through, God loves you, and He's always there for you. Bye-bye, my friends, and thank you so much for listening.